What's up, everybody? It's your boy ShowtimeDr. So I wanted to address, last week we had kind of a community vote where everyone picked who they think is the worst 5-star heroes in the game. And it was met with some blowback because the two chosen was based off Moonlight and regular. Dark Corvus was chosen for Moonlight, which I'm still kind of about, but whatever. That's the choice, that's the choice. And then we also had Ludwig, who was chosen as the regular ML, or regular summon rather, worst 5-star. And we got some blowback, and a couple times some people pointed out, oh, there's this guy named YCDB, and he made Ludwig a god because he has this OP combo and he figured this out. And so I got the video link and I looked it up, and I'll put the video link in the description. But yes, that combination does work for Ludwig, and that can make Ludwig into a pretty badass character. So there is an argument, or retort rather, against him being the worst 5-star. But the issue still kind of remains the same. Now, he can be good, just like, you know, a lot of characters with a lot of certain combinations of characters can be good. I'm going to present that argument, then I'll present the counter arguments that have been given already based off the comments, and then I'll probably be done with this, because whatever, what's the point? But I did want to make you guys aware. So, there are two people, and I assume if you're watching this, you know how Ludwig works, but if you don't know, quick thing, Ludwig does AoE damage on his ultimate. If he has the invincibility buff, he ignores 50% of defense, and, you know, the multiplier is decent, but most people felt like it was lackluster because A, they didn't have invincibility, and even if they did, they still felt it was lackluster. So I'm gonna go ahead and go over real quick. I'll show you a screenshot because I don't like to take other people's content, and like I said, that's the screenshot. That's YCDB there. That's the screenshot of his team on the left, so you can see Ludwig in the back, and you got Tywin at the bottom, Roman at the top, and Crimson Armin. Crimson Armin gives invincibility, and he has his team speed as such to where it works out, etc. And he seems like a really cool guy, much bigger YouTuber than I am, maybe than I'll ever be. But either way, so just to show you the team, so we're going to go over the heroes he has. Now, Roman, he is more of kind of like a, you know, he debuffs the team, basically, the other team, so he can dispel buffs on his 3, increases his own combat readiness 50%, and the rest of the stuff, you know, it's whatever for PvP, but if he happens to get his turn off again, he can now do this, which will decrease combat readiness for the enemy team up to twice. So all pretty good stuff, both AoEs for, you know, PvP. That works out really well. Now Tywin, what Tywin does for the team, it's mainly his 2, because he's increasing attack and crit hit chance, so I cannot account for what is, you know, what kind of relics he's using on these, or artifacts he's using on these characters, what type of gear, what he's focused on, etc., etc. So I'm not going to get that deep into it, but, you know, I'm assuming the basic things of get Ludwig hitting as hard as possible, etc. And if for some reason Ludwig hasn't one-shot everybody, or nearly one-shot everybody, you got his 3, where you can, again, do another AoE that'll decrease defense and help finish off whatever's going on with the enemy teams. And then the other hero he is using is Crimson Armin, which in this case is going to be, where is Crimson Armin? It's a tank character. You guys have a regular Armin now. There she is. So Crimson Armin, Claim the Flame. She can provoke, decreases crit damage passively, which is pretty good. You could also probably give her that relic that she takes 10% damage for everybody's damage and increases defense of the team by 10%. So this is someone to guarantee that Ludwig is going to stay up depending on who they're fighting through all of the AoE attacks. And then also, right here, grants immunity to the team, so they can't be debuffed unless they get dispelled. And invincibility to the entire team for 1 turn, so that's clearly super strong in PvP just by itself. But when you give Ludwig invincibility, go back to Ludwig here, I forget exactly, oh, he's right there. You know, you give Ludwig invincibility, penetrates defense by 15%, or 50% rather. So, and, you know, you build him DPSC. This skill apparently does good. And once again, like I said, I'll leave a link to it in the description. Now, that is the argument for how Ludwig can be a god and why he is underrated, etc., etc., etc. And hey, all that to that point is pretty much true. But the argument against that is, well, Ludwig still revolves around invincibility, and what are the odds that you are going to have a Crimson Armin, or at least somebody that can put up invincibility like a Cadiz, or I don't know if Shooting Star can do it. Let's see. Invincibility, nope, she does immortality, so she doesn't do it. So whoever else has invincibility besides regular Cadiz. And then what are your odds of getting them, and, you know, once you go down all the way, getting, is it here? Well, basically both Roman and, although technically I guess you don't really need Roman per se, but your chances of getting Tywin. So at that point, you're going to have to run somebody that does increased attack, and, you know, if you can't get crit hit, maybe you cover the crit hit on your character, and maybe you run Yuna for increased speed, and Yuna does AoE. Whatever combo you're getting, but what are the odds that, as you can see, I don't have Crimson Armin, I do have a Cadiz, I don't have Tywin, I don't have Roman. So running this very specific set of characters in order to get him owning in PvP, because once again, keep in mind, if you're building your Ludwig PvP, then that's going to be less health, less defense, etc. Well, if enemy teams have amazing speed, then what's to say that Commando Lorena is not going to one-shot Ludwig, or whoever's going to kick Ludwig's ass. So there's still, with Ludwig, the issue is there's still this very specific set of character stuff that you need to run with him. And the greater majority of people, they're not going to have Crimson Armin, they're not going to have Tywin, they're not going to have Roman, they're not going to have, you know, if you're not going to run Roman, then whatever other character you're using to keep Ludwig up, because that's basically what Roman and Crimson Armin are there for, along with, Armin. All of them doing AoE damage, essentially, and Armin providing invincibility, Tywin's providing buffs and more AoE damage. So that's the argument, that's the counter-argument that people are making. So, well, where the fuck am I going to get Crimson Armin and X character, or X character that has invincibility, and X character that buffs, and, you know, X character that does whatever, while I am also investing in a team that does, you know, they can farm all these dungeons effectively and raid bosses and doing the hunts and getting as far as I can in the world, etc. Like, because you guys know how the investment in this game is, so I shouldn't even have to clarify on that anymore. So, and then not to mention, I'm not sure whatever artifacts and stuff they're running, but you got to farm up all your gear and stuff too. So it's something, you know, he provided a template. And that is a very good template, and if you happen to get all that stuff or get close to it, hey, great, you can do it too. But, you know, that's the argument against it, is how am I going to get that specific set of characters? And okay, well, now I own in PvP, but am I going to run that team in PvE? Which, you know, looking at it, it doesn't look like a terrible team to run in PvE. You'd have issues on heals, clearly. So you'd have to kick, like, Roman or whoever else out if you're going to run this in like a raid setup or PvE or whatever, but you're still going to do huge freaking damage every, whatever Tywin's ulti turn cooldown is. I think it's like 5 or 4 turns. So, you know, but you still got to run a team that, you need a team that does lifesteal, you need a team that debuffs, you need a team that does XYZ thing, and so that's the counter argument, guys. So, but like I said, in this specific instance, yes, Tywin can own in PvP really hard, and he can probably do some other modes too. You know, help you out on specific things, but so that's the argument, guys. I want to present both sides of it, and you guys can bicker about it as you will. I still want him. I still want Ludwig. I got a Cadiz, and I can try to put, once I get Yuna or someone else, I can try to put a decent buffer team around him, and we can use him for different things. But, you know, as far as, I don't know if I'm gonna keep him as my most wanted 5-star like he was earlier. You know, that you can get from summons. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think about that, and I'll be doing a couple more Epic 7 videos, and definitely check out YCDB. You know, he's a good guy. I don't mean to, you know, use his content and then whatever. You'll see his YouTube, so I guess that's all that's really gonna matter. And that is it for me. I'm not even gonna do my promo stuff, so catch you guys later on. Peace out.